Greetings, Zombie Slayers, Sleepy Jim here. Welcome back to my solo high round strategy guide for the Black Ops 3 Zombies map, Zetsubou No Shima. So in the previous parts of this series, it was really all getting set up to get to this point. And I showed you how to get all the weapons, all the equipment, how to get free max ammos and stuff like that. Things that'll help you once you get to the high rounds. But in this final episode, I'm going to be showing you guys a bunch of different strategies. Just have a look at them, see which ones you think you might like to try, and that will suit your playstyle or your circumstances. Some are more suited to co-op play, and some are more suited to solo. Some are faster, some are slower but safer, and some are for camping as well. So I'll be explaining the pros and cons as we go through. Now here's a little trap strategy you might want to try out. Basically, if you use the fan trap and stand on the stairs, shoot a charge shot of the Masamune at the bottom of the stairs, you've basically got these two death zones where the zombies will come towards you and just die. It's very fast and effective even in the high rounds. You just want to watch out for the thrashers and obviously watch for when the fan trap stops because then you want to get out of here ASAP so you don't get sandwiched between the two hordes of zombies. But this is a very effective strategy in the higher rounds if you want to use a trap strategy. It's one I picked up from watching Steve's videos. Steve is an awesome high round player. Please go check out his channel if you haven't already. Very much a pro player. But anyway, that is a little trap strategy I thought I would demonstrate for you guys. Now next up I'm going to show you guys a really good train spot provided you've done the Easter egg. But first up I'm going to show you guys turning a zombie into a friendly thrasher using that spore that we revealed by mesmerizing the wall with the skull of Nan Sapwe earlier in this series and then shooting the roots out of the way with the Masamune. So that's how you turn a zombie into a friendly thrasher, and you can bring him down with you. If you've completed the Easter egg, you can take the elevator down to the boss room. So the boss room is actually a really good training area for the high rounds. Now there are a couple of downsides down here, but there's also a couple of really good benefits from training in this room. So one of the benefits is you're not going to get any thrashers spawning down in the boss room, which is awesome considering how much of a hassle they can be, especially in the higher rounds. Like if you get into the really higher rounds, we're talking like round 100 and 100 plus, the thrashers get really, really hard to kill, like almost impossible to kill. So when you're in the boss room and you don't have to worry about the thrashers at all, that's a real benefit. You can bring friendly thrashers down here. I don't know why my friendly thrasher disappeared so quickly. I might have accidentally killed it myself somehow. I don't know what happened there, but usually they'll last a long time and take out a ton of zombies for you. But anyway, what I like to do is I like to shoot a charge shot of the Masamune either side of this room in those jail cells because there are a ton of zombie spawns from inside there. So what that does is it soaks up all the zombies and kills them for you while you train the remaining zombies around the center area here. You just have to be a little bit wary of the spiders grabbing onto you a little bit and stuff like that. The real downside though of this area is that there are no wall weapons down here, which really sucks because it means that ammo will eventually be a problem in the higher rounds if you're training in this area, which will force you to have to go back up the elevator to replenish your ammunition at some point. Unless you very, very carefully manage your gobblegums like the alchemical antithesis or whatever else you're using to get ammo back. It helps to have mule kick as well. If you have 3 weapons, you're obviously going to have more ammo to get through here as well. Make judicious use of your alternate ammo types as well. So every now and then, if you just spray, wait for your cooldown to end on your alternate ammo, and then spray the zombies, and then that will also charge up your Skull of Nan Sapwe. Lean heavily on the Skull of Nan Sapwe to kill the zombies in the higher rounds. So obviously that doesn't actually take ammo, it gets replenished by zombie kills, which is always good. So yeah, this is a really, really good area. It's reasonably fast as well, and I really like this area. This is one of my favorite spots for getting to the high rounds. And as I said before, the Easter egg is not really that hard at all, so you shouldn't have any troubles eventually getting here in the higher rounds. Okay, so that is one of the strategies you can use in the higher rounds. And I'm also going to be showing you guys an alternative train spot, and this one is probably about the same level of difficulty. The trouble is that you are going to have thrashers spawning here, and numerous thrashers sometimes will spawn here because there's a couple of areas where there are spores. So just be prepared for that, whether you're using pop shocks, which is a little bit of a cheap way of dealing with them, your electrified zombie shield, or you have something like the pack-a-punched marshals, which deal with the thrashers fairly quickly. And you always have your Skull of Nan Sapwe, which also takes out the thrashers nice and quick as well. Or if you get lucky and get a death machine, I guess. That's usually a quick way as well. So you do have a lot of options up your sleeve. It's just being aware of, you know, using them, knowing which ones to fall back on at the right times. But the zombies and the spiders aren't too much of a problem in this area. You just have to, you know, obviously be careful training them. As you can see in this particular clip, I have gotten rid of Widow's Wine. So I don't like using Widow's Wine when I'm training here in this area below Lab B, because it does slow down the zombies in its webs, and that causes the zombies to block you off over a larger area than if they're nice and tight and compressed in a zombie train without having used the Widow's Wine, if that makes sense. So yeah, basically this is a good spot as well, because you're actually outside in the main area of the map, and it means you can water plants between rounds and stuff like that. So I would probably use this particular train spot that we were in back there under Lab B in the rounds from about round 30 onwards to about round 40 or so, when you've got all of your stuff that you've had to grow from plants, such as the monkey bombs or the extra perk slots and stuff like that. Theoretically, you shouldn't need the extra perk slots if you've got all the perks from the Easter egg completion, and then you've got backup clone plants and stuff like that. But if you're like me and you don't like using Widow's Wine, then you might want to get rid of Widow's Wine. Anyway, but yeah, that is a pretty cool train spot, and a lot of people I know do feel fairly comfortable training in that area as well as the area around the green water. Alrighty, so we might just watch the final parts of this round. It is a fairly slow area, depending on how much shooting you do and how much you use the Masamune and the skull and stuff like that. It's much safer if you go slowly, and but the trouble is, if you actually are serious about getting to the higher rounds and you want to actually go for some world records even or something like that, then speed is the most important factor, because once people start getting the world records and stuff like that, in order to actually have a chance of beating those, you really need to be faster than anyone else, because what happens is, after a certain period of time of playing the game, your game will reset. So in order to get to a high round, you need to do it quickly before that happens, and we're talking, you know, into the hundreds if you are going to be that hardcore of a player. So yeah, this is quite a slow strategy, but it's one of the safer ones and one of the more convenient ones in terms of being able to grow plants and stuff like that between rounds. Plus you can buy ammo off the wall for certain weapons and stuff like that from this area very, very conveniently. Okay, the next strategy I'm going to be showing you guys is another strategy that is going to be using the boss room. So once again, you need to have completed the Easter egg. This is a camping strategy, and it is super fun and super effective. Once again though, there's no ammo down here. There's no guns on the wall, so ammo could be a problem, but especially co-op, this is a super effective strategy, similar to the catwalk strategy from the Reese. You've got a very long straight corridor. You've got the zombies all coming from in front of you, except for the spiders that do spawn from this corridor area. But basically, if you're playing this solo, you need to shoot 2 pools of the charged shot from the Masamune in order to soak up all of the zombies. If you only shoot 1 charged shot, you will get some zombies that still make it through through the Masamune pool. So just keep that in mind. And what I like to do is I like to shoot the zombies with my alternate ammo and get my charged weapon recharged, and then I like to just obliterate all of the zombies with that that are coming down the corridor, and then just shoot another charge shot of the Masamune and rinse and repeat. So this is a really, really cool strategy. It does go through the ammo though fairly quickly, and as I said before, there are no wall weapons down here, so once you run out of ammo, you're forced to kind of go back up the elevator. Now, one thing you want to watch out for if you're going back up the elevator mid-round is if you have a Thrasher waiting there at the entrance to the elevator, you can get into some sticky situations. So just be prepared, make sure you're facing the right way when you get to the top of the elevator. Remember, the elevator entrance is at opposite ends. Depending on whether you're coming from the bunker side or from the boss room side, just keep that in mind. I was I was killed once rather stupidly when I was like, I think it was the first time I did the boss fight. I was coming back up the elevator and there was a Thrasher waiting up there for me, but I was staring stupidly at the back wall of the elevator waiting for it to open, and I didn't realize it had already opened behind me, and this Thrasher just came in and destroyed me. So yeah, you only make that mistake once, that's for sure. It definitely helps if you're doing this solo to have electric cherry, especially to deal with the spiders. And also if you do happen to get a bunch of zombies that start getting up in your grill, reloading will pretty much stun those guys and kill the spiders for you. So there you go, guys. This is a really fun camping strategy that you can use, provided you've done the Easter egg here in this boss location. Okay, so the next strategy I'm going to show you guys is the final one, and this is a little bit more of a tricky strategy. You need to set up the map correctly and leave a couple of areas closed off, just like I showed you in the first part of this series. That's the reason that we kept those two doors closed. The one that leads from Lab B through to the green water area, and also the one that leads from Lab B through to the bunker area. If you keep those two barriers closed, this strategy should really work well for you. So in terms of weapons, what I recommend having is the Pack-a-Punched Vespa with Dead Wire as the alternate ammo type. So Dead Wire charges your Skull of Nan Sapwe super fast, which is really important for this strategy. Plus it has a really fast cooldown on the alternate ammo effect. So basically I start the round by using the fan trap, sliding down the little chute there to this spot where we're going to be spending most of our time. Taking out most of the zombies with the skull if you have it charged, which you should have. And then basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be training the zombies up in this area in front of the stairs leading up to Lab B. Now this is a very tight area, but you should be able to basically shoot the zombies every now and then using your Pack-a-Punch Vespa to charge your skull. Now once you have the skull charged, you want to use it straight away in a very brief burst to take out most of the zombies, or as most of the zombies you can take out in that very brief burst that you use it. But definitely don't just hold it down until it runs out. You just want to use it for a short period of time to take out most of the zombies. After that, you'll get more zombies obviously spawning in, and then you'll want to train them up in the same way, spraying them every now and then with your Pack-a-Punch Vespa so that you can get that alternate ammo going, which will kill zombies as well for you, obviously, and it will charge your Skull of Nan Sapwe. So you can see just how quickly the Skull of Nan Sapwe charges using this strategy, and then you can whip it out, kill some more zombies with that, and then you just basically rinse and repeat. And this, believe it or not, this strategy is actually a very, very fast and effective strategy to get to some really high rounds in this map. So you do still have to watch out for the Thrashers, as I said before. They will even pop out of the ground in the area behind us here, in that lane that leads up towards the bunker. So just be aware of that. I would probably recommend killing those with the Skull of Nan Sapwe, provided you have it charged at the time that they attack you. If you don't, then you can use something like Pop Shocks, although you'll probably be using more Alchemical Antithesis or an ammo Gobblegum at this point in the game. You can also use the Shield Bash from the Electrified Zombie Shield, as I've showed you guys before, to take out the Thrashers. But yeah, there you go, guys. You can basically run trains here, do your figure eights to group up the zombies, spraying them with your dead wire effect, and then using the skull to take out the bulk of them as soon as it's charged up with some brief bursts of destruction. So yeah, I hope you benefit from this solo high round strategy guide anyway, guys. There's been a lot of tips and tricks in this guide. I know it's been a very lengthy one, but there's a lot of stuff in this map. There's a very, very slow and long setup that you have to do, especially playing solo. And there's a ton of little Easter egg steps and rituals you have to do to get all of the really good equipment and weapons as well, such as the, the spider bait weapon and all that stuff. But it's definitely satisfying when you do get to a high round on this map. And in terms of, I know some of you guys have asked me what I think of this map, because there seems to be a bit of a mixed opinion in the community about Zetsubou No Shima. And I would have to say I have mixed feelings myself about this map in terms of how great it is compared to all of the other zombies maps that we've had since World at War. In terms of the look of this map, the layout of this map, the design, the textures that they've used, the look of the swamp area, even the fact that you spawn in like an area where you can swim around in the starting area and stuff like that. I think it's an amazing looking map. It's a real amazing accomplishment that Treyarch have pulled off in making this map. One really kind of good side and bad side of the map is the whole feature with the plants. Planting the seeds and growing the plants. It's very, very complicated and time consuming, and it kind of breaks up the gameplay because you're almost forced to stop at the end of every round and keep a crawler if you want to get all your plants grown and stuff like that until you're fully set up, which doesn't really happen until about round 35 or so, if you're playing solo anyway. But at the same time, that feature of the plants in this map is something genuinely unique, apart from gobblegums, which are sort of almost forced, almost forced into zombies due to the whole DLC microtransaction component that they kind of almost forced into the map. But apart from the gobblegums, I would say that this plants feature is really one of the very few genuinely original parts of zombies that has been introduced in Black Ops 3 Zombies. Like, you remember in back in World at War when zombies first came out, every single map had something unique, some unique feature that kind of stuck with zombies most of the time going forward. So we had, when Shinonuma came out, we had the randomly spawning perk machines. Perk machines themselves were introduced in Verrückt for the very first time. Imagine that, if they'd never introduced perk machines. And then Doris, we had the pack-a-punch machine introduced as well. And so it went on with different features of the maps. But a lot of the Black Ops 3 Zombies maps have seemed very derivative of Mob of the Dead and Origins in particular. A lot of the concepts were almost straight out of those two maps, and were pretty much in every map we've had so far. Not that there's anything super wrong with that. It's just, I like to see innovation in new features brought into zombies, just like it was in World at War. And this plants feature is definitely something unique, probably to this map because of the type of map that it is and the theme of it. But it's also something very unique to zombies that we've never really had before, even if it does borrow from things like Plants vs. Zombies and stuff like that. So in that way, I think it's a really cool feature. The one thing that makes me feel that this map is probably as this map is probably as far removed from classic zombies as we've come so far, is the fact that there's so many boss battles. There's so many arena fights in this map. Like, think about it. We have the Keeper battle to get the skull of Nan Sapwe, where you're locked in that arena and you have to fight all the keepers. You have the boss fight against the giant spider, and you obviously have the Easter egg, the main boss fight at the end. And you also have the 4 rituals you have to do, where you get special zombies spawning and all that stuff. It's just going a little bit overboard as far as I'm concerned, being a kind of a zombies purist and having played zombies since way back in World at War. I think they've gone a little bit too far in that direction at this point in time, and there's just way too many special zombie types now in this map with the thrashers, you've got the spiders, you've got, all of that stuff, all the boss fights that I've talked about. So in some ways, I think that's probably a little bit too far removed from the classic zombies, but then again, a lot of people might have just experienced zombies for the first time in Black Ops 3, so maybe that's something that they enjoy. But anyway, they're my thoughts on Zetsubou No Shima. I think it's a good map. It probably won't stand the test of time as far as some of the classic maps that we've had, but it is a very good map, and I'm very interested to see what the next couple of maps will be from Treyarch. Anyway, that's it from me. I hope you've enjoyed this high-round strategy guide series. Please remember to rate and comment. If you haven't subscribed already, please feel free to do so. And keep in mind, if you've enjoyed this guide, I have similar guides for every single map since World at War in Zombies. So there you go, guys. That's it from me. Thanks for watching. Slippy Jim out.